Alright, this is Vegeta8259 and this is part 1 of the Master Grade VO review. And I guess in this part I'll go over articulation, second part will be inner frame, and the third part will be the few weapons and accessories we get, and my final thoughts on the kit. So, just a quick turnaround to give you a look of the mobile suit. It is a very, very heavily armored mobile suit. Very large legs, very large front skirts, very large back skirts. I mean, almost every inch of this mobile suit is covered in armor, with the exception of, these little gaps right here. But, yeah. This is the main bad guy mobile suit from the final battle of Zeta Gundam. And having that title, I was actually surprised that it took Bandai this long to actually get around to making this model kit. Now, VO has actually been in kind of Master Grade limbo for several years. I think the first time we saw a prototype of a Master Grade VO was back in like 2001 or 2002, and I guess just for whatever reason, cost of production or whatever, the model kit never did get made. But on the plus side, I do have to say that I'm glad they waited, because this version of the VO looks a whole lot better than that old prototype from 2002. This one looks so much better. Now, like I said earlier in a couple of videos, there is some debate about the quality of this kit. The outside of the kit looks fantastic in my opinion. I have absolutely no complaints about the outside of it. Even if I wasn't going to do any modifications and I was just going to do a straight out-of-box paint job, I really wouldn't have any complaints about the model kit at all as far as appearance goes. The inner frame is a little bit simple, but really I have no complaints about it. It has a full internal frame, and really that's all I ever ask on a Master Grade. It's not 2.0 quality, but then again, this isn't a 2.0 model kit. The inner frame is very blocky and bulky, similar to the outside appearance of the mobile suit. And, I don't know, I'll just get into that more when we get to part 2. So, yeah, I think what it is that a lot of people, their main gripe with this model kit is the price tag. It is 12,000 yen. Which is a little bit pricey in my opinion, but I was still willing to pay it just to be able to have a Master Grade version of VO, which I think is something to be said for that in and of itself. So, straight out of the box, you obviously get the model kit. We're going to get a very long beam rifle, which is almost as tall as the Crossbone Gundam, or Gundam F91. You get 4... Whoops, if I can hold them. You get 4 beam saber blades, but only 2 of them actually have blades. So you get 4 handles and 2 blades, which was kind of unfortunate, but I was able to remedy that. You get a very, very wide action-based connector, and you get a tiny figure of Shirako, the pilot of the mobile suit. And for decals and stickers, you get a large sheet of clear stickers, and these are all little warning signs, and all of these are molded in gray. And what appears to be a very poor attempt at digital camo on Bandai's part. I'm not even really sure what that's going to be. I'm not planning on using it, so I'm not really going to worry about it. The dry transfer decals I probably will use, though. These actually look pretty nice. Mostly just white stripes, a big VO logo here, as well as some Titans and EFSF logos. And we get, the best way I can describe this is plastic stickers. And basically what these are little plastic panels with adhesive on them, so they act just like a sticker. And these are going to go onto the beam rifle, onto these center panels to cover up that seam line, and I guess give the beam rifle a little bit more detail. So we'll see how those work out. So anyway, I just figured I'd shoot this portion of the review first, just to give you guys a good look at what the kit looks like built straight out of the box. And I am now going to go and paint this model kit and scribe on some new panel lines and do my kind of ambitious color scheme that I had in mind. And when I come back, I will go over articulation and finish up part 1. Alright, and we come back several weeks later, and this is the painted and completed Master Grade VO. And if you've watched my work in progress videos, you probably already know all about my reasoning behind the paint and panel line scheme and all of the work I put into it, so I won't bother going over that again here. So this video has been going on for quite a while now, so let's hurry up and do articulation, and then we can move on to part 2. Alright, so the head is on a double joint. It's got a ball joint up in the head, and then a hinge that goes back and forth at the base of the neck. So you can get a little bit of back, forward, a little bit of side to side. It does rotate 360. Just have to be a little bit careful with it. Then, let's see, the torso, I guess would be a good place to move on to. It's actually got a double joint, but doesn't really help much. There's a ball joint and a swivel. And you can turn, but you can't go 360, just because of VO's bulky design. You can go about that far to each side, and you've got a little bit of forward and back and side to side movement. For the arms, you've got a joint down inside the torso that lets the arms go forward and back and up and down. The shoulder armor can actually come up a little bit. This thruster right here moves up, and this piece of armor is on a ball joint, so it can go up and down and rotate. The arms can go 360 no problem, go 360 below the shoulder. The elbows are double jointed and can actually pull off a pretty impressive bend. If it weren't for this bulky shoulder armor, it could bend a full 180 degrees. It can bend 180 when you have the armor taken off, when it's just the inner frame. You've got a kind of a joint right here at the wrist, which lets the whole hand go up and down like so. And the VO's got pretty much standard 2.0 hands, where you've got a hinge at the wrist which lets it go forward and back. There's a ball joint so it can rotate. Then the thumb is on a ball joint, each finger is on a ball joint, and each finger can bend in the middle. Alright, the backpack doesn't really have any moving parts to it at all. The skirt armor is on a peg. It can go up and down and rotate slightly. The front skirts, let me move this camera down. The front skirts are on ball joints, and they can move up about that far, pretty far actually. And of course they can wiggle around a bit too. And of course one of the gimmicks for the VO are the hidden arms up under the front skirt. You've got a double joint right here, so they can bend up about that far. You've got rotation right there. And the little claw, these two fingers are movable, and the claw itself is on a ball joint so it can rotate and wiggle. Move that back into place. Let's see, the back skirt can go up and down, and that's just about it. The hips are on ball joints, so they've got pretty much, they can go out about that far, and they'll go forward and back as far as the skirt armor will let them. There's a little swinging joint right there, like on many newer Master Grades, which you dislodge, lets the hips come even further. Sorry about getting the foot right in the camera. Let's see, the knees can bend. This is actually extremely difficult to do with how bulky this guy is. When the knees bend, we got some sliding armor on the thigh there. Originally that's just going to be straight. I cut out a little zigzag and put that in there as part of my modifications. And the knee can actually bend pretty far if I can get it to... Well, maybe it's better that we're... There. The knees can actually bend pretty far, almost it's a lot more than 90, but it's still not quite 180. But yeah, I was actually surprised by how far the knees could bend on this kit. Anyway, let's see. God, this kit's so bulky and heavy. This big piece of armor right here on the front can go up and down slightly. This piece of armor on the back can go up and down. This little piece of armor can go up and down as well. The ankles are on a giant ball joint, so they can go side to side, rotate a little bit. They're not going to go 360 because of these red cables right here. They actually connect to the ankle and then or go up into the leg, so because of those you're not going to get 360-degree movement. However, when you move the ankle, those do move around and looks quite nice actually. The back half of the foot can move a little bit. The front half of the foot can move up and down a little bit as well. And I believe that is just about it for articulation. So despite his bulk and his size, VO is actually pretty well articulated and is a fairly posable model kit. So I guess that about does it for part 1. We will come back shortly for part 2 while I'll go over VO's inner frame and his weapons and accessories.